Hey everyone, welcome back to Midnight Tales. Tonight, I'm about to share with you one of the most terrifying true stories ever recorded. The haunting of the Amityville House. This isn't just any ghost story. It's a real account that has haunted the world for decades. As you listen, I encourage you to imagine every detail and feel the chilling presence that still lingers there. If you've ever had an experience like this, please share it in the comments. And remember, listen all the way to the end. You won't believe what really happened. The story of the Amityville House begins on a cold November night in 1974. The house, located at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, Long Island, was an ordinary-looking Dutch colonial. But what happened inside its walls was anything but ordinary. On the night of November 13th, Ronald DeFeo Jr., the eldest son of the DeFeo family, committed a crime that would shock the world. He took a high-powered rifle and systematically murdered his entire family, his parents and 4 younger siblings, while they slept. Each victim was found lying on their stomachs, shot in their beds, with no signs of struggle. The brutality of the murders was chilling, but what came next was even more horrifying. Just over a year later, the Lutz family, George, Kathy, and their 3 children, moved into the house unaware of the dark history that came with it. They were drawn in by the home's charm and the surprisingly low price. From the moment they moved in, things started to go wrong. It began with small, strange occurrences. George, who had never been particularly religious, became obsessed with the house's eerie, cold spots. Despite the heat being on full blast, he found himself waking up at 3:15 a.m. every night, the exact time the DeFeo murders had taken place. But it didn't stop there. Kathy began experiencing terrifying nightmares, vivid visions of the murders, as if she were reliving them herself. She would wake up in a cold sweat, her heart racing, unable to shake the feeling that something was horribly wrong. One night, as she was in bed, she felt an unseen force pull the covers off of her, exposing her to the cold air. When she looked over, she saw George sitting up in bed, staring blankly at the wall, his eyes wide with terror. He told her he had seen a shadowy figure at the foot of the bed, a figure that vanished as soon as he tried to move. The children, too, began to suffer. Their personalities changed, becoming sullen and withdrawn. The youngest daughter, Missy, started talking to an imaginary friend she called Jody, a demonic, pig-like creature with glowing red eyes. Missy claimed that Jody lived in her closet and that she could see her through the window, staring back at her. But the most terrifying event happened one night, when George and Kathy were woken by the sound of a marching band playing in the living room. The music was loud, almost deafening, but when they rushed downstairs, the room was empty. The instruments were gone, but the furniture had been rearranged, and there was a foul stench in the air. As the days went on, the house seemed to take on a life of its own. Doors would slam shut on their own, and windows would open and close without any explanation. The family began to notice swarms of flies gathering in certain rooms, despite the freezing winter weather outside. The walls themselves seemed to ooze a dark, sticky substance that defied explanation. One night, George heard a loud crash coming from the basement. When he went down to investigate, he found the basement walls covered in what looked like black mold. But it wasn't mold. It was something much darker. The air was thick with an oppressive, malevolent energy that made it hard to breathe. He felt as if something was watching him, lurking just out of sight, waiting for the right moment to strike. The final straw came one night when the family was awakened by the sound of the front door slamming open and the unmistakable sound of footsteps running up the stairs. The footsteps stopped right outside their bedroom door, and for a moment there was silence. Then, the door burst open, but no one was there. The air was icy cold, and the feeling of dread was so overwhelming that Kathy collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. The Lutz family lasted only 28 days in the Amityville house before they fled, leaving behind all their belongings. They claimed they were driven out by the evil presence that haunted the house, presence that seemed to feed off their fear, growing stronger with each passing day. After they left, paranormal investigators, including Ed and Lorraine Warren, were called in to investigate. Lorraine, a clairvoyant, claimed to have sensed a dark, demonic presence in the house, something ancient and malevolent that had been awakened by the DeFeo murders. The Warrens captured photographic evidence of ghostly apparitions, including a chilling image of a young boy with glowing eyes standing in one of the upstairs bedrooms. To this day, the true nature of what happened in the Amityville house remains a mystery. Some believe it was all a hoax, while others are convinced that the house is a portal to another realm, a place where the veil between the living and the dead is dangerously thin. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain. The Amityville house is a place where darkness lingers, and the echoes of the past can still be heard, whispering in the night. As you listen to this story, remember, the next time you hear a strange noise in the middle of the night, or feel a cold breath on the back of your neck, it might not just be your imagination, because sometimes the things we fear the most are the things we can't see.